Hey everyone, Adam from weldtables.com. I just wanted to take a couple minutes and show you two of our newest products of the FabHorse. And we're really happy and really proud of these two. The one we have an adjustable FabHorse, which you see in front of you, and then we have our rigid FabHorse. So just so you know, between these two, the rigid FabHorse and the adjustable FabHorse, the tops are identical. All the sheet metal work is identical. The two tubes in down are different, and then the tube work is different down here. But just keep that in mind that the sheet metal is the same between the two FabHorses. The differences in real quickly that the adjustable, we can go from I think 32 to 42 tall. We have the bolts with a little fine-tune adjustment for both FabHorses, and then on our rigid we came up with this a concept to let you guys decide in a 2-inch increment, whatever size. If you've already purchased a fab block or a table, then you can set your FabHorse to the same height, and then just fine adjust it. And that's just basically with a cutoff wheel, whatever height and increment that you would like in 2-inch increments, to get you the same height as your table. So let me just jump into this real quick. It shouldn't take more than a couple minutes, so just bear with me. Alright, so here is our top. And again, these between the rigid and the adjustable will be the same assembly minus these two parts. So just keep that in mind, whichever one you're building. I'm just going to kind of cover them both at the same time. So let me hide a couple components. So there I exploded this out. And just to try to show you how basic and simple that this is, what I would do and recommend on this is flipping this over on your fab table, your your fab block or your table you have, and bring everything down into this base plate, your dash 101. You can bring in these three components, which is the dash 105. You can see this one's already at its home position, and we have this surface and this surface are flush to each other, and that's what we're going to do with these two as well. Those will insert into the tab and slot design, as you can see, along with the male tab and slot work into the female onto the dash 101. Once those three are inserted into your dash 104 onto dash 101, the top of your FabHorse, then the two tubes that we send with you can lock right into these two tabs. And also make sure that this part here, this surface, that surface, needs to also be flush with your dash 101 on both components. Just to validate yourself and make sure you're good and square. Make sure there's no light you can see along these surfaces. It just is going to make you a better product, a nicer product. I'd recommend get some clamps, pinch everything nice and snug, and then I would just put some tacks along this bottom to hold these components together until we can get the last few pieces in here. As I'm going to turn them on, as you can see. So once we have those inside pieces done, I would then throw my outside pieces, which are dash 103 and 102. You should have two of each of those. I would throw a C-clamp, Bessie clamp, whatever you have on these locations, right in the very end or right across from your dash 105 parts. That way you're not getting any bowing or anything like that, and this should all square itself up. So I would just go ahead and throw like 3 clamps, or if you have 1 clamp, work your way down. And just tack these components in there as well. Once you get everything squared up and tacked up and you're confident in it, you should be able to go right ahead to the top side like you did with the tables and the fab blocks, to go ahead and weld right in these pockets. Obviously, either center and out or from one side to the other, whatever you guys prefer and whatever your abilities are. Just make sure as you're working this thing, just like the table, you want to keep it as flat and snug and tight with clamps as you possibly can, just to aid in building. So once we get this done, then we're going to jump to the bottom half. The bottom half, pretty self-explanatory, and I'm going to show you that here in a second. What I would do is, you have this 202, this dash 202. I'm going to hide that guy for now. I would build each of these A-frames independently with just some nice strong tacks as we're kind of working this thing together. I just want to show you this, that we have our male tab and then our female slot over here, and then there we go. You can kind of see as they're in the pockets right there with our welded on nut, and I'll show you that on the other side here. So when you're building these, everything's pretty self-explanatory on this. I mean, I just want to show it to you, like I said. Here's the nut that we'll be sending with you for a fine adjustment. I would weld that guy in. Make sure to give yourself some room here, which should be plenty, but just keep that in mind that we need to, we're going to be tabbing this into the foot pad into the tube, and then that'll be coming into this guy right here, which is our -203. So once these two A-frames are built, let me see if I can get this back out. There we go. Once these two A-frames are tacked up and you're confident with it, it's going to be up to you to either weld the nut, weld the bolt. I guess we did add these flanges on the top that are bent over, so you can put a nice fillet, nice bead along there to give you that extra strength. To get to that 1,500 pounds weight limit is where we're kind of at right now. We're doing a little bit further testing just to see if we can raise that up a little bit. I'm sure if you keep it on the website or emails, we should be letting you know about that if that changes. Once these two are built, I would drop our common part, the 202 that's on both FabHorses, excuse me. At this point, then I would tack on this side along here and this side on both ends. And the reason for that is once I tack everything, I want to bring this top weldment in that we just built and slide it down in here, and that'll give me these A-frames a little wiggle room. For example, they may be leaning in a little bit, they may be leaning out a little bit once we get this. So using the weldment that we just built along with this 202 part, that'll help keep us square. And I'm sure you guys all know that, I'm just saying it. So once we get that and we get everything tacked in, we slide our top weldment down in there. Then at that point, feel free to weld it as see fit. We weld pretty much on the tubing. It's going to be complete weld all the way around. In here is going to be a little more heat, so I guess it's to your discretion if you want to do some stitching along this, because there's a lot of surface there. That's up to you. Again, don't forget to put a fillet in here just to give you that extra strength. Then just weld this bad boy up. So here's the rigid one that I showed you briefly. I kind of explained this bottom half here to get the different heights. Everything on this I'd build exactly the same. Once the top is built, you build your A-frames, you drop your common 202 part in here, the -202, help you get yourself squared up. And this one will square us up a little bit easier just because we do have the tab work into here, but I would still tack the sides of this. And by tacking the sides of that, you can wiggle these verticals a little bit easier than, say, tacking on the top side or bottom side. That's just my 2 cents. You guys build whatever your confidence level is. Again, the top components are all the same. Hope you guys enjoy, and thanks for watching.